Welcome to ChessBase Magazine 169. The top tournaments of this issue are the World Cup in Baku, where Sergei Koryakin won and Peter Swiedler was second, beaten in the fantastic final, dramatic to the end. Congratulations to Sergei Koryakin. One of the final games was an endgame with opposite colored bishops. I have looked at it in detail in the endgame column. Daniel King has made a video of the game of the day, about 15 videos. Don't miss Danny's instructive comments. And Pavel Elyanov has annotated his instructive win against Hikaru Nakamura, and as usual in this video format I had to delete almost all of his annotations. White to move. How did Elyanov transform his space advantage and better central control? It is slightly surprising. Knight takes b7 is strong. I was also amazed how strong. Yeah. Okay, queen c7 is another mistake, by the way, but okay. I guess Hikaru Nakamura had underestimated White's advantage. It's always difficult to assess these positions with two minor pieces against a rook, but here White's two pawns and Black's dominated pieces give White a very, very large advantage, and Elyanov converted convincingly in the following long technical farce. The second tournament is the European Club Cup, where the Russian team Siberia won and the Azerbaijan team Sokar was second among with other teams, shared second. And Vladimir Kramnik was playing first board for Siberia with 4.5 out of 5. He was really a strong man for the team, and he beat Veselin Topalov, his old rival, in the decisive match. Why to move? How did Kramnik continue? Topalov wants to reduce White's attacking potential by exchanges, as opposite colored bishops favor the attacker, but Kramnik found the very strong exchange sacrifice. So it is an exchange, but it opens up more attacking roads, and this is also one of the reasons why positions with more material have no real drawish tendency other than pure opposite colored bishop endings, which are very drawish. Here White's attack is extremely strong. Sacrifice and exchange is another motive for the attacker, and Kramnik converted convincingly after a few further moves, as Black's king is too open now. There are 11 opening articles and 3 videos, one by Erwin Lamy, a weapon for White against the Dutch defense, d4, f5, and then knight c3, knight f6, and bishop g5. So if you play d4 and are always annoyed by the Dutch defense players, maybe you can try Erwin Lamy's suggestion. Mikhail Marin looks at the Makogonov variation of the King's Indian from White's point of view. And finally, Alexei Shirov also looks from White's point of view at the Caro-Kann Advance variation. From the 11 opening service in traditional format, I want to mention especially 3. The first by Sagar Shah, surprise weapon with Black, and not bad. In this typical position, d5, of course, White can also play other move orders in other positions, then you need further surprise weapons if White plays not with knight c3, that's clear. But in this position, d5 is a very interesting surprise weapon, and maybe your opponent already falls off the chair after the surprising shot. Yeah, and most often it will probably be taken and defended, but it is not easy at all. And here Gopal Zazikiran, Krishnan Zazikiran won the pawn back sooner or later, and then had no problems, and even in the end went on to win. So this might be an interesting surprise weapon for Black. Robert Riss looks at the Sicilian Wink Gambit. This is very, very risky, but how to deal with it? And here in Zayani Shirov, Alexei Shirov, I think shows a reliable way, also according to Robert Riss. He takes, and then plays e5, not d5, e5. And then in the resulting structures, yeah, I strongly doubt that White has enough compensation for a full pawn here. And after bishop c4, Shirov just goes into this similar line from the two knights defense of e4, e5, but black can play it, and yeah, black is at least okay here, probably more so, probably good to know from black's point of view. And Shirov went on to win. And finally, Alexei Kuzmin looks from white's point of view at a weapon in the king's Indian main line. So this all is mainline theory, and it will go on for a few further moves, of course, as usual in the king's Indian. So main position, white of course has many options, and Kuzmin looks at a4 to push the a pawn first and to follow up with the rest of the queenside play later. Okay, here prophylaxis first, and then even Malakov against Gordievsky went on with the typical break c5. So this is interesting for white, and if you play the king's Indian mainline with black, of course, you need a weapon against Kuzmin's suggestions. In the columns, Oliver Ray looks in the tactical column at stunning and exemplary, and Antipov Jordan van Forees from the World Junior Champion U20 Vive to Move is exemplary and also a bit stunning. How did Antipov continue his attack? f5, knight g5, and now already the exemplary motives are all there, and the combination also of course is a bit stunning, and the mate is a typical pattern. So solve Oliver Ray's combinations first yourself, and only then look at the solutions. Tactical trading is very important to keep your eye sharp. Mikhail Marin looks at the strengths of doubled pawns. And here I always admire how Marin manages to combine the great games from the past with new material, and this of course is a well-known classic. Mikhail Moiseyevich Botvinnik against Ilya Abramovich Karl, championship of the Soviet Union, Leningrad, 1939, and with 94 Botvinnik started a very powerful light square initiative, which is not easy to neutralize, as the double pawns gives white additional attacking roads and the important outpost d5, and over the board it's probably next to impossible to defend this here. And here the double pawns indeed are more of a strength than of a weakness, but matters are not so easy, so study Marin's article to sharpen your intuition for the important scene. Simon Williams deals in move by move with Dingley Ren Wai Yi from the World Cup, and again solve all his questions yourself first before looking at the solutions later. In the endgame section I look at the eternal theme, good knight, bad bishop. And finally Rainer Knark has selected 5 opening traps. I again have selected one of them, Wöbe-Nickel from the Austrian Senior Championship. It's a Rubinstein French. After knight d2, the good for the Rubinstein player is that it just transposes, not so much theory there. Structure relatively clear. But here white can set a trap, queen e2. And why does taking and play knight f6 fall into the trap? c5 would be better, by the way. So find the solution first and then look at Rainer Knark's video on the DVD. And now I wish you a lot of fun with ChessBase Magazine 169.